You can't save people from themselves, Rob. You really can't. And it's almost sad that you could argue the height of civilization has been white Christian nations. Europe was the best place on planet. But this altruism, this empathy that white Christians have is going to be the downfall. This turn the other cheek bullshit, this love your neighbor bullshit. Love your neighbor means love the people who you grew up with, who think like you next to you. It does not mean love some dude from the other side of the planet who doesn't think like you and who's going to kill your fucking kids. Christians, hi. Love your neighbor doesn't mean love everybody. Turn the other cheek, no. If you only have two. I'm mixed race, right? So let's talk about the real juicy stuff. And my dad was a black genius, which is, according to race realists, very rare. They said the IQ distribution, there's less black geniuses than white geniuses. My father was a black genius. And I'm mixed race. So I really love to read like this race realism stuff. I don't even ever read it, but it's like the true racism. It's great. And they're saying that, and I love it because I'm mixed. I'm between the two. So I think it's all funny. I make fun of my white family. I make fun of my black family. I'm as racist as they come, and I'm just bouncing in between the middle. But basically it says that skin pigmentation isn't actually the biggest difference between black people and white people. That's like the 6th or 7th biggest difference. But it's just the most obvious visually, so it's the one we talk about. But there's actually huge differences biologically in the way our minds work and parts of our brains that have developed. And it explains that we're not compatible to live amongst each other because we just look at life differently. We look at society differently. We do things differently. And it's not because one is better than the other. It's just the way we've evolved separately for millions of years, or however you want to put it, the way our cultures worked, the way our societies worked. We have certain tendencies. Black people have tendencies and white people have tendencies. And it's really interesting when you look into race realism. But they were saying that the demise of the white man now is actually why the white people were the most effective in the 18 and 1700s and 1600s and 1500s. Have you ever heard about this?
No.
Oh, okay. So the white man, I'm going to be black for a second. You crackers, you have a...
You need your ice watch for this.
Yeah, I need my ice watch. I actually wore a nice, calm Rolex,
did.
has a few diamonds, but this is
a little bit ice.
It's a little bit.
Yeah.
It's my calmest watch.
Yeah.
So white people have a superpower. And the superpower is that you have the capability or the ability, or you've evolved with this tendency to actually optimize for competence and work with people you don't directly know to get the job done. So white people, if you need to build a boat, will go out there and say, okay, we need to build a boat. So I need a carpenter and I need a blacksmith. He's the best carpenter and he's the best blacksmith. I don't know these people, but they're the best. So we're going to find a way to work together. We're going to be kind to each other. We're going to understand each other. We're going to come up with a contract, which is a novel concept. Contracts were never found anywhere else in the world outside of the Western world, by the way. The Aztecs didn't have contracts. The Aboriginals didn't have contracts. Africans didn't have contracts. They never had contracts. The idea of going up to someone you didn't know and agreeing the terms and just doing the work was alien to them. Here's a contract so we can get the ship built. And the ship would be built because you have the most competent people. Whereas black people are more tribal. So I need to build a boat. So I'll say to my brother, you're in charge of the carpentry. But my brother doesn't know carpentry. But he's the only brother I've got. And we have to build a boat. And then I'll go to my cousin, you're in charge of the sales. And my cousin will go, I don't know anything about sales. Like, but you're my cousin. So we optimize, black people optimize the tribe and optimize familial relations over competency. So over time now, white people are far better at getting along with other people they don't know, living next to people they don't know, interacting with people they don't really know. Because for hundreds of years or thousands of years, you had to be competent and build these mass competent societies. Whereas other races are they only really trust those they're familiarly linked to. They don't like people not in their clan or not of their name. And that stifles their competency because any large infrastructure project or anything large that must be done can only be done with the competency level of the people who they are related to. We see this even now in African politics. Who becomes president? His brother becomes finance minister. His sister becomes this. And the whole family just becomes, and they don't know what they're doing, but that's his family. That's how they work. So the white people's ability to get along with others, which made you extremely successful, made the white man the most powerful force in the history of humanity, is now being weaponized and used against it, right? Because now you can understand other people and you're very patient and you're happy to talk things through and you don't quickly resort to violence. And you have all these other people coming who, unfortunately, don't think the same as you. They do very quickly resort to violence and they don't want to really talk to you. And they don't really care what you think. And they don't consider you. They make noise and they don't consider their neighbors. They never have.
So are you kind of talking about immigration in the UK here then?
I'm talking about the fact that, the UK is collapsing, yes, absolutely.
And it's letting anyone and everyone in.
That's right.
Yeah.
But what I'm actually talking about is the fact that you need some kind of cohesion to society. And the natural base cohesions that were given to us are a similar way of thinking derived from our race or ethnicity or our nation. So it's very easy to have a cohesive society if everybody is the same color and thinks the same. Mm. If you're going to have a society which is not that way, Dubai is one of them. It is possible of doing, but you need to have something that coheses society. You need to have something that can supersede race, supersede religion, and keep everybody together, keep everybody functioning. A strong rule of law, the ability or the feeling of gratefulness to exist in that place in the first place, respect for the nation. There has to be something. The UK has absolutely nothing.
Do you think opportunity is important?
Of course it is. People are coming to Dubai because they want to be rich or they want to be better than they were before.
And there's a chance to be.
And
they'd fucking take it all off you in the UK.
That's right. So if you have no chance of ever becoming rich and you don't think like the people near you and you don't look like the people near you and you're not really grateful to be there because you stand no chance of being rich and you don't respect the place because nobody else does, that's the end. That's the end of a nation. So to go back to the original point, to fix something like this would take drastic measures. Very drastic measures. A lot of very drastic things would have to be done. But the white people, and that's who they'd be. It'd be white people who have evolved over time to get along with everybody, would start marching in the street, demanding the demise of their own nation. They would call me a bad guy. I would stand up and say, hi, I'm a mixed race person who believes that we need to fix this country. So anybody who ain't paying taxes out because we need money.
Yeah.
White people would then come along and call me, the brown man, a racist. And they would march down the street calling me a racist. And they would let their nation get destroyed. And if we had to be honest, which I'm prized for doing, I like to be honest, it wouldn't just be white people. It would be white people. It would be primarily white women. That's who it would be. It'd be the matriarchy, feminine bullshit. A whole bunch of white chicks would march around because their husbands don't tell them to stay at home because they're unchecked. Unchecked femininity is just chaos. And they'd march around in the streets demanding that me, the brown man, doesn't kick out the people who don't pay taxes so that the UK can continue to demise and fall to pieces and die. So it would be such a thankless job to try and save the West. It would be so thankless. It would be ridiculous. I'd be sitting in Westminster watching these protests of these people going, Andrew's a racist, as a mixed race person saying, this is ridiculous.